The cosmos, once a realm of peaceful exploration, is now a stage for potential conflict. Russia's reported development of a space-based nuclear anti-satellite weapon, if true, is a deeply troubling development. This weapon, designed to destroy satellites in orbit, represents a new and dangerous escalation in the militarization of space. It is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present threat of nuclear weapons. The very notion of deploying nuclear weapons in space is a dangerous gamble. The consequences of such an act could be catastrophic, not only for the targeted satellite but also for the entire global community. We must remember that space is not a playground for military posturing. It is a shared resource, vital to our understanding of the universe and the future of humanity. This new weapon system, shrouded in secrecy, raises profound questions about Russia's intentions. Is this a defensive measure, as some might argue, or a sign of aggression? Regardless of the motivation, the development of such a weapon has the potential to spark a new arms race in space. This would be a tragedy for all humankind, diverting precious resources away from scientific discovery and towards a dangerous and destabilizing competition. The international community must respond with a united voice. We cannot allow the specter of nuclear war to extend beyond our planet. The time for dialogue and diplomacy is now, before this dangerous technology spirals out of control. From the mundane to the extraordinary, our lives are increasingly intertwined with the silent sentinels orbiting our planet's satellites. These technological marvels have become indispensable to the functioning of modern society. They connect us across continents, guide our vehicles, predict the weather, and even help us understand our changing climate. Imagine a world without GPS navigation, instant global communication, or accurate weather forecasting. This is the potential reality we face if satellites are weaponized. Economies rely on satellite communication for financial transactions. Businesses depend on them for data transfer, and militaries utilize them for intelligence gathering and communication. The potential economic impact of a space-based conflict is staggering. Disruption to satellite networks could cripple global trade, disrupt financial markets, and isolate entire regions. The cost in terms of lost productivity and economic hardship would be immense. Beyond the economic consequences, the humanitarian impact could be devastating. The very fabric of our interconnected world relies on the continued safe operation of these orbiting systems. Weaponizing space jeopardizes this delicate balance, putting at risk the infrastructure that underpins our modern way of life. In 1967, amidst the Cold War, the world came together to sign the Outer Space Treaty. This landmark agreement, ratified by over 100 countries, established space as a global commons, free for exploration and use by all nations. A cornerstone of this treaty is the prohibition of placing nuclear weapons or any other weapons of mass destruction in orbit around Earth. Russia's reported development of a space-based nuclear weapon system directly contradicts the spirit and the letter of the Outer Space Treaty. It represents a blatant disregard for international law and sets a dangerous precedent for other nations to follow. This blatant disregard for international agreements undermines the very foundation of global security and cooperation. The international community must hold Russia accountable for its actions. We cannot allow the hard-won progress of the Outer Space Treaty to be eroded by unilateral actions. The treaty, while a testament to the possibility of international cooperation, lacks strong enforcement mechanisms. This loophole allows nations to develop and test weapon systems without facing immediate consequences. The development of space-based nuclear weapons is a wake-up call. It highlights the need to strengthen international space law and establish clear consequences for violations. We must work together to ensure that space remains a realm of peaceful exploration and scientific discovery, not a battleground for future conflicts. A house of cards. The fragility of space infrastructure. The network of satellites orbiting our planet is a complex and interconnected web. Each satellite, a marvel of engineering, relies on a delicate balance of speed, altitude, and trajectory to maintain its position. This intricate dance is vulnerable to disruption, and the introduction of weapons into this environment poses an existential threat. The destruction of a single satellite, especially one belonging to a critical infrastructure system, could have cascading effects. Imagine a chain reaction, a domino effect where debris from one destroyed satellite collides with others, triggering a cascade of destruction. This scenario, known as the Kessler syndrome, could render near-Earth space unusable for generations. The strategic implications are equally concerning. The ability to cripple an adversary's communication, navigation, and intelligence-gathering capabilities with a single strike is a tempting proposition for any military mind. This creates a dangerous hair-trigger environment where even the perception of an attack could lead to rapid escalation and full-blown conflict. The militarization of space, far from enhancing security, makes us all more vulnerable. It raises the stakes of conflict and increases the likelihood of miscalculation and unintended consequences. Echoes of the Cold War. A new Cuban Missile Crisis? Russia's actions in space evoke chilling parallels to the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. Then, as now, the world watched with bated breath as two superpowers edged closer to the brink of nuclear war. The deployment of Soviet missiles in Cuba, within striking distance of the United States, triggered a tense standoff that threatened to escalate into global conflict. Just as the placement of nuclear missiles in Cuba shifted the balance of power, the development of space-based nuclear weapons threatens to upend the current strategic landscape. It introduces a new and unpredictable element into the equation, one with potentially catastrophic consequences. However, there are also crucial differences. Unlike the visible and verifiable deployment of missiles in Cuba, space-based weapons are far more difficult to detect and monitor. This lack of transparency increases the risk of miscalculation and mistrust between nations. The Cuban Missile Crisis, though a harrowing experience, ultimately led to dialogue and de-escalation. It serves as a stark reminder of the importance of communication, diplomacy, and the need to find peaceful solutions to even the most complex and dangerous global challenges.